Here's Tomlin from yesterday on whether and when Justin Fields will be named what he seems to be, based on 3 games, QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mike, now that you're 3 games in, what more do you need to see from Justin? Why not name him the starting quarterback going forward?
Because there's no need. I explained to you the variables of the week. It has not changed. He's going to walk in this building with that mindset tomorrow. And so I really, there's no need to. Sometimes in this business, man, there's a myriad of complex decisions that need to be made. I've learned to make them when it's appropriate and it's not necessary as we sit here right now. When Russ gets to an appropriate point of health and we have a decision to make, I'll make it and I'll announce it and I'll be really transparent about it. But until then, I don't care how many ways you guys ask me. I got no intentions of making a decision that's unnecessary at this juncture.
That is another way of saying, look, I've stumbled into a great situation here. I've got a starter who's injured. I've got a backup who's playing well enough. And I'm not going to remove the label from the guy who's injured and put it on the guy who's playing, because then if the guy who's playing stumbles, I'll be benching my starting quarterback. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this play out 1 week at a time. And if and when the guy who's playing ever stumbles, the guy who's injured is going to be healthy. And QB1 will simply be taking his job back. So you never bench the guy that they want to groom to be the long-term starter. That's the reality. They're playing a word game, but it's an important word game to play, because when they bench Justin Fields, if they have to bench him, they don't want it to be a benching of Justin Fields.
Right. Oh, it's the perfect situation, right? Oh, I never told you guys that he was a starter. It's a good situation. Justin came in and he did a good job, but I told you at the beginning of training camp that I like Russell Wilson's leadership. He's one of our captains, and the job. You don't lose your job to injury. Like you have every possible scenario covered. But I am noticing this, Mike. I'm noticing that he doesn't have to say it. Tomlin doesn't have to say that Justin Fields is their starting quarterback. But he could say Russ is our starter, and he's not. Like a lot of coaches will say that. Hey, Justin's done a great job, but I've said all along, nothing has changed. Russ is our starter, and we look forward to him coming back. Unless you don't feel that way. I told you last week, I'm even more emphatic this week. The job belongs to Justin Fields. It's Justin Fields' job now, because it's not like Fields is doing something. He is not just getting by and playing a style that the Steelers don't like. He's playing the way I think they would want Russell Wilson to play, except he's got more explosive ability than Russell Wilson. He's got the ability to just break off I know he scores there on a short run, but we know this. He's got the ability to break off a 40 or 50-yard run at any time, taking care of the football, making smart decisions. That's what Russell Wilson's supposed to do. So the fact that Justin Fields is playing like this and they're 3-0, I think it's his job. I can't, in other words, Mike, give me an argument for Russell Wilson. Let's say he's healthy this week. Well, we know he's not going to be, but let's say he's healthy. He comes into the facility today and says, hey, coach, I'm ready to go. Here we go. Give me an argument for putting Russell Wilson in there right now.
There isn't one. There isn't one. Until the Steelers lose, there's no argument to be made, because you keep rolling the dice. The dice are hot. Don't disrupt anything. It's like the baseball player, and you see this in other sports, but baseball seems to be the one because they have so much time sitting around being bored that they come up with them. They have all these dumb superstitions. Like, this is working. It doesn't matter that he's not Dan Marino. It doesn't matter that he's not Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter that he's not Josh Allen. We're 3-0. And last year we made it to the playoffs with quarterback play that was so bad we fired all of them when the season ended. We completely unloaded the entire quarterback depth chart last year for a team that made the playoffs. So, yeah, we're winning. And Justin Fields is getting reps in this offense. And Arthur Smith, the new offensive coordinator, that system, Fields fits it better. He just needs to do a little bit more in the passing game. And Chris made a great point the other day. We were showing, I think it was Chris. See, this is the one thing, the variety pack. I never remember what cereal box I'm referring to. But.
It was Cocoa Puffs.
It was Cocoa Puffs. But Chris said something along the lines of Fields was running out of the pocket, and with the Bears, he just would have taken off. With the Steelers, he held the ball, he was patient, he completed a pass. So it's coaching him up to be a better passer while taking full advantage of his agility, acceleration, and overall mobility. That's where he becomes the better option. And you just can't. You can't make an argument at this point to go back to Russell Wilson because we never got a glimpse of Russell Wilson as a starter in a regular season game. The last thing we saw from him, which was very impressive, against Detroit, preseason, Ford Field, as loud as it is in the regular season, on a key third down, 3rd and long early in the game, Russell Wilson delivered a strike to George Pickens. Boom, that's it. He's the starter. Off we go. And there's nothing you can sink your teeth into other than that to say, yeah, let's sit down the guy who's playing well and we're winning games with and put QB1 back on the field, as much as Russell Wilson would surely love it. And it's got to be a test of his restraint to not activate his PR machine to start leaking something that makes him look better, that tries to agitate for a trade or whatever, which the Steelers should not do because Justin Fields could get hurt. And then you've got a perfect plan B, who, if he plays well, we're in the same situation. We're not making Russ. We're not saying anything. We're just going to let it play out.
I was going to ask you how adaptable Russell Wilson is. I was thinking on the field, but since you brought up the PR part, off the field too. Because the audiences in Seattle and Denver, okay, they dealt with the PR machine of Russell Wilson. As you know, Western Pennsylvania is a little different PR. They don't like that kind of stuff there. So you're going to have to, can you come up with a different PR approach? It's got to be subtle, but it's got to be blue collar. It probably, no matter what you do, it's probably going to fail. It's not going to work in Western Pennsylvania. But I wonder also on the field, seriously, young Russell Wilson would be great for Arthur Smith's offense. A young Russell Wilson. The let Russ cook Russell Wilson. Hey, I need the opportunity to express myself going to Denver because I'm one of these great quarterbacks, one of these great passing quarterbacks. I really don't see the fit with Smith and Tomlin for Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh like I do for Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields, it makes so much sense that this young quarterback is getting the coaching, the best coaching that he's had of his career from the head coach and from the offensive coordinator, who understands not just for him, but for years of Steelers football. This is complementary. This is what we do. It's complementary football, Steelers football at its best. We don't necessarily need a quarterback to be everything for us. We need you to do things that just don't put us in just really negative, adverse situations on offense. I can just see it. It makes sense for Fields. Russell Wilson there as their starting quarterback looks a little more iffy to me. I'm not sure it's the best fit.
He's going to have to sit back and wait for Justin Fields to get injured or completely and totally collapse. They're going to have to lose like 3 games in a row, and it's going to have to be Justin Fields' fault primarily before a change is going to be made. And he just has to be patient. And we know that, look, the PR machine is real because when he got benched last year in Denver, I started hearing from his PR people. That wasn't an accident. That was release the hounds. I look bad. Make me look good. That's the last thing you want to try with Mike Tomlin. This is a guy who is going to be a free agent after this season. Who's going to give him a starting job if he hasn't played this year? Who's going to say, Russell, how do you sell that to a fan base? We've seen, since he left Seattle, 2 bad years in Denver and 1 year in Pittsburgh where he got injured on the first day of training camp, and we don't see him all season long, assuming he doesn't play this year, and it's Fields wire to wire. But if he wants out, there's one way to handle it, Michael. Face-to-face with Mike Tomlin. Ask for a meeting with Tomlin. Go into his office. And I'm reminded of that goofy Subway commercial he did about the, right? You know that? He's like, pretty dangerous. But you don't want to bring that guy in. You don't want to bring Mr. Unlimited in. You just want to be very straightforward.
Mr. Unlimited.
But you want it. I'm unlimited. You want to go in and you want to say to Mike Tomlin, hey, you want volunteers, not hostages. I don't want to be here. I want to play. I'd like to be traded to a place where I think I can play. And that's 6 weeks out. By then, between now and then, there could be the clouds part and there's a starting job available because a starter is out for the year. That's the moment to go see Mike Tomlin and say, you always say you want volunteers, not hostages. I feel like a hostage here. I came here as the starter. You bring Justin Fields in 2 weeks later. You didn't tell me you were going to get Justin Fields. I came in as the starter. I want to start. You want volunteers, not hostages. Now it's time for you to do right by me. I don't know that Tomlin will give it to him, but the best thing you can do with the Mike Tomlin Christmas book is turn it around and show it to him, which is exactly what he'd be doing.
That's right. Isn't this your quote here on page 33? Didn't you say this, Coach? Come on. But and Mike Tomlin can contradict himself like I'm about to contradict myself right now. You tell me, call me out on this if I'm contradicting myself. All right. I said I don't really see the great fit Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith at this stage of Wilson's career. However, if I'm Mike Tomlin and Russell Wilson comes to me and says, I want to go somewhere else, I'm saying no. Because it's the most important position in football. And although you're not the best fit, I think you can play the position. And I've already seen, hey, the Vikings got a break. Sam Darnold looked like he was going to be out. He's not. Brock Purdy is questionable for this weekend. We know what's happened with Tua already. The Panthers already replaced Bryce Young. I mean, this position, just things happen, performance, injuries, and you'd be crazy to just move on from a quarterback who you named as your starter, and then to your good fortune, his backup came in and led you to a 3-0 start. So maybe he's not your starter, but he still has value. I wouldn't. I'd say, hey, Russ, it's better for you to just hang on here. Just be on board, be a leader, be a captain. This will be better for you, even though you won't have the numbers that you expect to have after this 1 year in Pittsburgh. It will say more about you as a leader, as a teammate, if you stay here and support Justin Fields. I would not get rid of him.
And he doesn't even have a bloated quarterback starting salary that would be offloaded by trading him because he took that $1.21 million minimum deal to stick the balance of the $38 million he's due to make this year to the Broncos. So why would the Steelers trade a guy who's been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1, who they have on the roster for the cheapest they could possibly have, a 12-year veteran on the roster? And Bill Belichick even called it earlier this week the best quarterback situation in the entire league, having Fields and Wilson on the depth chart at 1 and 2. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.